Hello and welcome to the What's Up London show. I'm your host, Melissa Maloney. We're here with our first episode of 2025 and it is going to be amazing. We have a great lineup of guests joining us today who are going to share strategies for a successful year, support for youth with mental health, a great way to connect with our amazing Forest City, and a new studio to help small business owners with things that can sometimes have a hefty price tag. Our first guest today is here to help us find some additional joy and happiness in 2025. She's been featured in Success Magazine as a TEDx speaker and has a bestseller called The Book of Human Empowerment. To tell us about some strategies on how we can make this year successful and have more success with our resolutions is Nicole Kernahan, Elite Coach and Chief Operating Officer at Elevated Worldwide. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
First guest of 2025.
I know.
And the perfect topic to talk about our resolutions. Mm-hmm. So knowing that resolutions are probably on everybody's mind right now, and potentially people have already broken them, where should we start?
Yeah, it is interesting because recent studies actually showed that 70% of resolutions fail around the third week of January. So we're right here.
Yeah,
so
this
is the
crazy.
time. I know.
So why are they failing? Like where do people go wrong when setting resolutions? Everyone goes in with the most optimistic hope.
Absolutely. One of the biggest challenges is that people set a goal and they're unconsciously or consciously hoping that motivation will just keep them going. Because they're super motivated,
yeah.
right? The first 2 weeks at the gym, everyone's following their meal plan, maybe waking up earlier to work on some things in their personal lives or businesses. But motivation wanes. Motivation fails. Motivation is not the answer, although it helps. It's not the answer to sustaining new thoughts, new habits, new behaviors.
Okay. So when we think about sort of where should somebody start? So let's say it's a journey. So let's say I started January, maybe I've already fallen a little bit off course, but there's still a lot of year left and I want to reset. So if we could kind of rewind and pretend it was January 1st, how would you tell somebody to start?
Here's the key. Often people try to change their actions without changing how they see themselves. I refer to it as your identity or your self-image.
Okay.
So someone will come out and say, I'm not a morning person, but I'm going to force myself to get up early and go to the gym 5 times this week.
Yeah.
So that person identifies as not being a morning person, maybe not even seeing themselves as a fit person, but they're just trying to force and hope that their actions will change while holding on to the old beliefs.
Okay.
So the best way to actually do it is to start by shifting your identity.
Okay. So how do I do that?
So, right?
What's step one?
So shift your identity. So I'll give you an example just through words, using the power of words, affirmations. I use progressive affirmations.
Okay.
I know we were chatting earlier about, but using the words, I am choosing to wake up earlier, or even saying I am an athlete. If you can go all the way to saying I am an athlete, I'm not trying to run a marathon, I am trying to be a runner.
Yes.
I'm not trying to write a book, I'm trying to be a writer. So you're trying to identify as the person who does those actions. If you see yourself as an athlete, then you're gonna wake up and say, I'm an athlete. Of course I'm gonna go to the gym this morning, rather than I'm not an athlete and I'm gonna force the action. Right?
Yeah, that little shift in words and sort of that power of words and what that does. So, and I hope I'm not going too deep on this, but what does that actually do to our mindset? How does that create change and build more success?
Well, you see, your actions, your true actions, your long-term actions from now until the end of the year are based on what you believe about yourself. It's subconscious. It's not an idea, a goal, although a goal is important. It's subconscious. So when you use words, maybe visualization with belief, I use, like I said, progressive affirmations. It's progressing your belief. So you might not say, I am an athlete, but you might say, I am beginning to be more athletic. I am choosing to be more athletic. Those words shift your feelings. They shift your belief.
Totally. So I really like this idea of progressive affirmations. It's a new concept to me, and I've been in this space forever, so I love it. Do you recommend then adjusting those progressive affirmations as the year moves along? So I then kind of, as I evolve, the affirmations evolve?
Yes, nailed it.
Okay.
Absolutely. They're intended to be a progression.
Yeah.
As you make progress, you evolve. So at first, you might say, up until now, I didn't like mornings, but I'm choosing to wake up earlier. I'm choosing to start to use the morning differently. You may evolve to saying, I am feeling great in the mornings. I believe I am a morning person, or I am choosing to be a morning person. Like, you can actually shift your language all the way up to I am a morning person. I love mornings. But when you say that on day one, if you never, ever, ever liked mornings, you might not believe that.
Totally.
And affirmations don't work if you don't have an emotional connection to them.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So we're getting close to the end. We've got to wrap this up. So I want people to be able to connect with you, because it's such a powerful time of year to get to work with a coach, to have somebody who is that cheerleader behind you. So how can people reach out?
I would say on my website, NicoleKernahan.com, also through social media. I'm very active in there. I share a lot of tips. This is a great time for lots of tips through social media, also at Nicole Kernahan. And I have a free abundance journal as well on my website, where people can kind of answer questions and start to reflect on their thoughts and beliefs.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming in and for sharing this. I know you are going to be the step in making many people in London have a better 2025.
I hope so.
Thanks, Nicole. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Our next guest is here to tell us about a free mobile app that empowers youth and young adults to be safe and reach out in time of mental health or substance abuse crisis, and aims to help youth connect with the resources they need in their area. To share more about this critical support tool is Jill Vanderlei, the program coordinator of Be Safe, Mind Your Mind. Welcome to the show, Jill.
Thanks for having me.
So grateful to have you here today. So why don't we start with a little bit about Mind Your Mind and sort of the why behind this, the purpose behind it, and what the organization does.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mind Your Mind is an incredible organization. I used their supports when I was a teenager, and so it's kind of a full circle moment for me coming back and being able to work for them. So they've been around since 2004. We were based out of London, Ontario, and we're a program of Connects Ontario.
Okay. And so the app is part of Mind Your Mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Be Safe by Mind Your Mind is one of our apps. Mind Your Mind is really passionate about making resources and tools that help support youth with their mental health. And we do that in partnership with youth. So we have created the Be Safe app with a group of youth in a process that we like to call design labs.
Okay.
Where we talk with youth, we get to know what's important to them, and we really figure out what kind of process or tool or product or service that we can kind of create together.
Oh, I love that. So the youth are actually engaged in the building of like not obviously the technical building, but in the components of what's going to be involved in the apps that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So for Be Safe in particular, we worked with a group of youth who had experience of accessing the emergency room for mental health or substance use. And so they indicated what would be most important to them in a time of crisis. They worked with us to storyboard, to create what the app would look like, what elements needed to be included. And then we go back and forth with the youth in that process until we get that right and we get exactly the picture of what they hoped for.
Okay. So it having access to local resources is significant, because that's probably one of the hardest things to navigate in the system. So what cities are you in, or how big is this at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. So Be Safe launched originally in London, Ontario. It was a project that was made in partnership with the Canadian Association of Mental Health and a lot of local contributors and youth, of course. And so together we worked to kind of look at the needs of London, Ontario, and to look at the needs of the system. And so there was this huge gap where youth were reaching out for help, but maybe they weren't getting the right help that they needed. And so it started with London, Ontario, but the app has, I think, grown beyond our imagination. And so now we're actually available Canada-wide. So we have resources all across Canada.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it's a unique tool in that there isn't really something else that's going to get you to the support that you need as quickly as Be Safe does.
That's awesome. And so I'm just curious, if I'm, say, a parent of a youth with mental health, is there value in me also having access to the app, or is it really geared for the youth?
Yeah, so when we created the app, we created it for youth, but I think what has happened is people have taken it and used it in so many different ways. And so if you are a youth, if you're a parent, if you're just somebody looking to understand the resources that are available in your community, I think it's a really great tool to use. And then the app also has different components to it where you're able to not only see the local resources, but you can also go in and follow some prompts to complete a safety plan, and to really have something that you can refer back to. So when you're in that time of crisis, there's information about how to stay safe, there's coping tools, and we know how hard it is to make decisions in those moments. Yeah. So it is really a tool that is meant to make it a little bit easier to be able to navigate.
To build it in a positive state versus in a state of crisis.
Absolutely.
So I know you have an amazing, I'll say, recognition that you've received recently. Do you want to talk a little bit about that as we wrap up?
I'd love to. Be Safe was recently evaluated by the Mental Health Commission of Canada as part of one of their projects where they are evaluating mental health apps and creating a standard of care for health products across Canada. And so that means that when you're using the Be Safe app, you can know that your information is entirely confidential. You can know that you're using a product that is going to help you. It is clinically backed. It is evidence-based. And again, we made it free and easily accessible for people to really find the help when they need it.
Amazing. How can people download the app? And both the app stores, I assume?
Absolutely. So it's free on both app stores. You can find us. We have a website, besafeapp.ca, that's going to answer some of your questions about the app. And then you can also find us at mindyourmind.ca. You can find everything about who we are, about our different projects and tools and things that we've got going on.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming in today, and congratulations on all the success you're having with this. It's such important work.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. Our next guest is here to share about an amazing event series that's happening in London for 6 weeks, starting on January 25th, encouraging us to contribute to the preservation and enjoyment of nature. Here to talk to us about nature in the city is the chair of the event, Kathleen Holland. Welcome to the show, Kathleen.
Thank you so much, Melissa.
Super excited to talk about this. I was just saying to you, this is something new that I had not heard about before. So it's been around for a long time.
That's right. So Nature in the City started in 2006. It's a joint effort between two organizations, Nature London, of which I'm a member, and the London Public Library. So at the London Public Library, we're using the Wolf Performance Theatre. It's a wonderful setting.
Space.
369 seats are waiting for you. And so as a result of that, we went through a little bit of a hiatus because of the COVID shutdown. And after a 3-year hiatus, it was brought back. So last year was the first year back, and then this is year 2 where we're going back at it. So it's 6 consecutive weeks. It's Tuesday, January 21st is the kickoff, and then it runs right through until February 25th.
Amazing.
So different topics every night, and it's all relevant to nature found right here in our city of London.
It's such a super cool concept because it's a neat way to learn and to actually enjoy nature in months where we're not necessarily thinking about it in the same way.
You know what, you're absolutely right. It's one thing that we get to look forward to, and it's a free event. You know, it's sponsored, so you just get to show up. There's no RSVP required. You just show up at the Wolf Performance Hall. So the event takes place each of those Tuesday nights from 7 to 8:30.
Okay.
So we always recommend come down at about 6:30 in order to get your spot.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about some of the different speakers. So I know you're one. Do you want to talk about yours maybe to start?
Sure. So mine is called The Wild Side of London. And what I do on a regular basis is I go out and I hike in the woods. I'm a retiree, and so I get to do what I like to do. And in this particular case, I hike on a regular basis, and yet I film wildlife, and many times it's incredible sightings. People sometimes will go into the woods and they're walking with a friend, or they are walking, with their buds, their earbuds in, and they are not really necessarily able to capture the essence of what's going on in the woods.
Yeah.
So what I do is I go by myself. I'm almost always solo hiking.
Okay.
And I am listening for animals. I'm watching for their movements. Sometimes I even plant myself. I stand still. And yes, I wear heated clothing, like a heated vest and heated gloves, because that can be very cold, but I just dress for it.
Yep.
And this is where I have amazing sightings of things like pileated woodpeckers, coyotes, of course, white-tailed deer. So there's a lot of animals that we are so fortunate to see in the City of London because of the Thames River.
Yep.
So that is, I want to share some of those secrets with the people who come out to the presentation that I'm doing, which is on February 18th. And but the other presenters are amazing. For instance, people have probably heard of Salthaven, especially if they've come across an injured or seemingly orphaned animal. This is where people can call them, get advice, or perhaps they can come and pick up the animal. So Brian Salt of Salthaven, he is going to be one of the presenters. We have Ryan Fraser, who will talk about astronomy from your backyard. So he is an amazing photographer, talks about the night sky. And so this is something, he's been a presenter, he's that good, so we asked him to come back.
Yeah.
And so, and we have Winnie Wake, who is from Nature London. She, over 20 years, compiled tons of information on chimney swifts. Chimney swifts are small, insectivorous, so insect-eating birds that live in chimneys. So they're having a really hard time of surviving simply because what do? We cap the chimney so that animals can't get inside, or alter their environment so that it's not possible for them to live in it, to roost, or to raise their young in it. They actually have this uncanny ability to climb up the sides of a very vertical structure. So she has compiled information with the help of a lot of volunteers over the last 20 years, and so she's going to talk about the outcome of that and show people maybe how they might be needing our help in order for this species to survive. So that gives you a bit of a sampling of the different topics that are going to be covered.
Okay. So if people wanted to get more information on this so that they could decide if they want to come to one night or all of the nights, where is the best place for people to go and look?
So the London Public Library has that information available on their website, but also Nature London. naturelondon.com is the website, and then that's, you just hit a search, and then, or our calendar of events, that will show the event. And as I say, you don't need to RSVP, you just simply show up when you find that the topic is of interest to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing about this today. Really amazing, and I'm hoping lots of people come out and support.
That's great. Thank you
Thanks,
so much for
Catherine.
having me, Melissa.
Anytime. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Our final guests today are here to tell us about their new studio that is designed to support small businesses with more accessible and affordable photography and marketing services. To tell us about this incredible space are Ashley Rowe, the founder of the New Leaf Collective, and Liz Gilders, the owner of Liz Gilders Photography. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Excited to have you both. This is a really cool concept, and I know I've not heard of anything like it existing here. So maybe we can start with, how did this even come to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think both of us, we actually started kind of working together, honestly. When the idea sort of came to be, I predominantly work in the marketing space, Liz in the photography, and our visions just aligned from the moment I think we started working together, and we thought about this idea of what if we brought this together in an accessible way, and really bring light to the small business owners that we're so lucky to work with, and bring them light in the accessible format that we like to see within the studio, within the marketing, and it was really just both of our visions coming together to make something really special.
That's awesome. And I know, because I know lots about New Leaf Collective, so I know that sort of making things accessible and affordable for small businesses is something that's really important to you.
Absolutely.
Safe to assume that was that's part of your vision as well, because photography and marketing can be a really costly business expense. So if I'm a small business owner, what does engaging with you both at the studio look like? Do I work with one of you? Do I work with both of you? How's it work?
So we both have our own services.
Okay.
So Ashley offers marketing and a wide range of services within that. And then I have my branding photography. So you could hire us individually, or we also have packages where you can come in, you can get fresh, updated branding photos, and then you can go to Ashley and you can have your website updated with those photos or your social media. We've just intertwined it so nicely that it can be like that one-stop shop for a business to come in and get kind of everything they need.
Awesome.
And it's just a lot of fun in there. I think one thing that I really love about our studio is just prioritizing, being very welcoming, being very inclusive, and like making sure that when our clients come in, if it's working with you or I, it's a lot of fun, it's a lot of acceptance, and I think like that really shows with the plants all around the studio, fun music that we have in there, like just different things that go that extra mile to make sure our businesses feel really supported.
That's awesome. So is the studio space like it's sounding like it's a pretty awesome space itself too?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a clean, minimalist space that's just like a blank canvas for any brand to come in, entrepreneur, come in, and it's like this space to get creative. I thrive on capturing the authenticity of each individual client that comes into the space. I want to capture them as they are thriving. So we can get super creative in what we capture and what we create in that space.
Awesome. So would you do have people say even working in the space, and then you're capturing them with those versus a traditional, I'll say, headshot?
So a session looks like headshots are included.
Yeah.
But also we do lifestyle, detail. We capture everything, and it's like you're set for your social media. If you're not feeling like showing your face, we have little details that correspond with your business and go with what you're putting out to the world.
Awesome.
But then we also are getting that clean headshot as well for if you want a more professional look.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is really, it's such a neat idea, and I can really see the value that this is going to bring. We are getting close to wrap up, but maybe where we can tell people how to find you and where to find you would be really important so that people know how to work with you.
So you can go on Instagram and you can find us on the Brandon Bloom Studio.
Okay.
Or you can go to the New Leaf Collective website and go to the Brandon Bloom Studio there and contact us through the contact form.
Amazing. And where's it located?
Just in the Western Fair District, so
awesome.
just right around the corner here. 20 Kitchener Avenue is our studio space, but kind of right in the heart of downtown to make it really accessible for our business owners coming in.
Awesome. Congratulations to you both for
you.
your success with this, and hoping that 2025 brings you amazing support for all the small businesses in town.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Well, that is the end of this week's episode. Thank you for watching and for listening. Please support the efforts of our guests by liking, commenting, and sharing the episode of What's Up London with your friends, family, and networks. Please visit our guests' websites and social media pages and plan to support their efforts. I will see you again next week. So until next time, stay safe and be kind. Have a great day.